my friends, and today the occupiers have once again become more active, and the situation on the front line remains complex. Let's start the front line situation overview right away from the Zaporizhzhia direction. Yesterday evening, there was information about the beginning of a new wave of attacks from the Russian side. They are attempting to break through in the direction of Robotyne. Additionally, the village is under artillery fire, and there are reports of fighting in the Nadiya area. There is a possibility that the Ukrainian Armed Forces are trying to expand their control territory, so the Russians have immediately initiated offensive actions to hinder the Ukrainian plans. Furthermore, there have been attacks in the Bilohorivka area. As you can see, the Russians are quite active here. So far, the Ukrainian Armed Forces have had to repel all attacks, and there is no talk of an advance towards Bakhmut. But before we continue, please share this video on social media and watch it to the end. It will greatly help promote my channel. Thank you. In the Vuhledar direction, the Ukrainian Armed Forces managed to repel all the attacks in the Staromaiorske area. Therefore, today there are only shelling incidents along the entire front line with no significant changes over the day. Meanwhile, warehouses belonging to the Russians are on fire in the occupied territories. Yesterday evening, a large ammunition depot of the Russians detonated in the town of Svatove near Mariupol. However, they claim that there were no airstrikes, it was simply an electrical short circuit.
Ого!
It appears that this is not really related to an issue with an electrical short circuit. But okay. In the Kherson direction, shelling continues along the front line, and according to the Russian reports, their attempts to push back the Ukrainian Armed Forces from their positions have been unsuccessful. Additionally, yesterday, the occupiers through their channels claimed that Ukrainian forces had entered Oleshky. It seems that another populated area may soon transition into the gray zone. So this would be the fifth such area. Furthermore, the occupiers late yesterday evening began shelling the Odessa region with rockets. In the center of Odessa, local residents reported a massive explosion, but there are no details available at the moment. In the Avdiivka direction, the Ukrainian Armed Forces have successfully repelled all attacks on the northern flank. So the front line in the Svatove area remains unchanged, with only shelling incidents. However, on the southern flank, there are ongoing intense battles. The occupiers continue their advance towards Severne, Novomykhailivka, and several groups are attempting to make progress toward the outskirts of Avdiivka. The situation is complex because all these attacks are accompanied by shelling. There have been no significant changes along the front line over the past days, so we are waiting for the results of the new attacks, but it's not as simple as it may seem at first glance. Analytical agencies have once again confirmed that the Russians are still preparing for a new major assault.
The battle for Avdiivka, Russians are preparing for a new assault. The situation is critical, and reinforcements are needed. In the near future, Russian forces will initiate a new assault on Avdiivka. The Russians have concentrated fresh reserves. The enemy is determined to once again attack the city directly and break through north and south of the city. Today, the Russians conducted massive aerial and artillery strikes. Our forces are waiting for the enemy. The tactical situation remains advantageous for us, as the enemy is advancing under much more challenging conditions than we are defending and is suffering significantly greater losses. The battle has been ongoing continuously since October 1st. Ukrainians are putting up organized resistance. However, many soldiers are exhausted due to the multiple waves of occupant attacks.
Further south, in Marinka, the battles are still ongoing. However, in the Novomykhailivka area, attacks have ceased once again, and the occupiers have suffered additional losses. They are now only engaging in shelling. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation has deteriorated once more. Besides continuous attacks in the Klishchiivka and Avdiivka areas, there have been ongoing battles in the direction of Bogdanivka for the past 2 days. Since yesterday evening, there have been reports of offensive actions in the Kherson area. The plan to encircle Ukrainian Armed Forces units located in the Zaporizhzhia and Yagidne area is still on the Russian agenda, and they are attempting to execute it once again. In the Kreminna and Siversk directions, the situation has stabilized. Ukrainian Armed Forces have repelled all attacks in the Bilohorivka area, and for now there are only shelling incidents. In the Svatove area, the occupiers shelled the village of Nadiya, which they had been unable to capture despite several weeks of attacks. Currently, there are no new offensive actions reported in this area. In the Kupiansk direction, the Russians are once again intensifying their offensive actions. In addition to attacks on Sinkivka and Ivanivske, there are reported battles in the direction of Petropavlivka across the fields. Looking at the satellite map, it's evident that these fields are surrounded by populated areas, and the Russians are attempting to breach this circle, but the Ukrainian Armed Forces are successfully repelling them there. Overall, the battles continue, but the occupiers haven't yet achieved their goals. President Zelensky has stated that despite all challenges, Ukraine will continue to fight for its freedom.
President Zelensky, thank you so much. Before you go, if you want to share, what keeps you going? Do you ever feel defeated?
I have a lot of power, but even feeling strong and have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that we want to fight all our life, because the price is high, like I said, because the war takes the best of us, the best heroes, the best men, women, children. That's it. But we are not ready to give our freedom to this terrorist Putin. That's it. That's why we are fighting.
Meanwhile, Putin continues to reinterpret history to portray the West as an enemy for Russia. This time he compared the West and the Golden Horde, suggesting that Alexander Nevsky, a medieval prince, supported Mongol rule in his domains. Putin claims that the Golden Horde, while behaving harshly, was still better for Russia than the West.
Давайте вспомним то, что происходило во времена, скажем, Александра Невского. Ведь он ездил в Орду, кланялся ордынским ханам, получал ярлык на княжение, в том числе и прежде всего для того, чтобы эффективно противостоять нашествию с Запада. Почему? А потому что ордынцы вели себя нагло, жестоко, но они не затрагивали главного – нашего языка, традиций, культуры, на что претендовали западные завоеватели. И вот это самое главное, потому что если разрушается культура и традиции, и история народа, то народ постепенно начинает исчезать как этнос, растворяться, как снег поздней весной. Вот почему мы так почитаем Александра Невского как святого? Именно за этот выбор. Он думал о том, чтобы сохранить русский народ. А затем и все народы, проживающие на территории нашей огромной страны.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and See you next time. Bye-bye.